Thank you, Travis. Good evening and welcome to tonight's regional news. We begin with a story from Venezuela. The government of Venezuela, President Nicolas Maduro, and opposition leader Juan Guaido have reached an agreement to cooperate to raise funds for the fight against the coronavirus. The one-page agreement was signed on June 1 between Health Minister Carlos Alvarado, Dr. Julio Castro, who leads the National Assembly's Commission on the Coronavirus, and the Pan-American Health Organization PAHO, Information Minister Jorge Rodriguez said on Tuesday. The parties will seek funds to cover a range of responses from improving testing, acquiring more protective gear, and launching public health messaging campaigns, among others, Rodriguez added. Guaido's communications team also said a technical cooperation plan to deal with the humanitarian coronavirus crisis was signed. The two sides have so far not confirmed the details of the plan. In a statement, however, Guaido's team said PAHO would receive the funds approved for the humanitarian aid. Venezuela officially has 1,819 reported COVID-19 cases and 18 related deaths, but international organizations such as Human Rights Watch believe this is an underestimate and the real toll is much higher. The pandemic hit Venezuela when the country was already reeling from a serious economic crisis, hyperinflation, and a collapse of public services. The country has the largest oil reserves in the world, but its production is in free fall, a collapse that experts attribute to failed policies, lack of investment, and corruption. The economic meltdown has seen about 5 million Venezuelans flee the country since 2015, according to the United Nations. And now for news from Trinidad and Tobago. Students writing the Caribbean Secondary Examination Certificate (CSEC) and the Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examinations (CAPE) in Trinidad will not have to wear masks in the examination rooms, but will be subjected to other health controls. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Roshan Parasaram said discussions are ongoing between the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Education. So far, they have established some guidelines, including allowances for only a small number of students per examination area, temperature checks, and sanitizing the examination areas. Parasaram said, and I quote, "There will be no congregation before and after exams, and we will sanitize all the surfaces. We are looking to do temperature monitoring as well. If they are ill, they will not be allowed to come into the space. With regards to even the parents, there will be no gathering outside. We will ask that they drop their children off and return for them at the end of the examinations. Those discussions are ongoing with the Ministry of Education, but the wearing of masks will be negated by social distancing in that particular instance." End of quote. And now for some rather startling news from Brazil. Brazil has registered another record number of new daily coronavirus deaths. The 1,262 new fatalities put its overall death toll at 31,199. Brazil has 555,383 confirmed infections, second only to the US. The jump comes as several major cities start to open back up. In Rio, people were seen on the beaches, and in Sao Paulo, some commerce has opened. Marcos Espinal, director of the Pan-American Health Organization, said it was difficult to see how the virus would be contained in Brazil unless restrictive measures and more testings were used. And now for news from El Salvador. Tropical storm Amanda killed at least 14 people when it struck El Salvador, unleashing flooding and landslides, officials say. The president of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele, has declared a 15-day state of emergency to deal with the effects of the deadly storm. He said it had caused $200 million worth of damage. 4,000 people have sought refuge in shelters after their homes were destroyed. 7 people died in the capital, San Salvador, according to the city's mayor Ernesto Machunt. In San Juan Opico in central El Salvador, 3 members of one family were killed when their home was swept away by a landslide. Rocks, mud, and water careered down the hillside, flattening the home of the Rangeros family. The bodies of the victims were found 1.2 miles downhill. Amanda is the first named storm of the season in the Pacific. Meteorologists said it weakened after moving north to Guatemala, but they warned it could again gain strength over the Gulf of Mexico. El Salvador has 25,000 confirmed cases of coronavirus and 46 deaths. That was all for tonight's regional news. Thank you for joining. Back to you, Travis.